Hi, Eric Gibaud, Gibaud.com, and today I am in the south of Tenerife and Medano, Canary Islands, to present you this new Pentax 17, thanks to Digit Photo lent it to me. And yeah, I dressed as a tourist to play with it because many people said it was a fun camera for people who want to start with film photography. So we're going to see if it's true. So let's start. A small message for haters. No, I'm not getting paid for this video, but yes, I have to admit, yes, I will keep the pictures I will make with the two films that sent me with it, a Kodak Ektar 100 and a Kodak Color Plus 200. So please forgive me. I feel some people are a bit like sour when they watch videos and think we're all getting paid. No, I just want to have fun and try this camera. I don't know what's in the box. I have not opened it yet. I will discover with you. The only thing I know is if it works, I will place these films in there, okay? So I've not opened the box yet. I'm going to open it easy to have a look at it. It's off-frame camera. It means on a 36 pose film, 36 frame, I get 72 pictures. That's a lot for me. Between the two, about 150 pictures. That's too many for me. But still, for my way of shooting, I think 36 is already too many. So I'm going to try as a traveler, whatever, who has nothing to do else than shooting whatever it feels like. Okay, so I'm going to be in this situation and see what it gives. I must admit that my first reaction when I read the specs of this camera when it came out, not today when I got it, but when it came out, I was really disappointed. I was expecting like a remake of a Pentax reflex camera, and no, it's not. So I was like disappointed, but still I'm happy that I get the camera today and not when it came out, because I've forgotten about this first reaction on the announcement, and I'm going to test this camera as a new product, forgetting about Pentax, so the big history of Pentax, and just looking at this product as it is today. Okay, so I think it's going to be a lot better this way to give the most objective opinion. So the unboxing was recorded in real time. I was really opening the box for the first time, placing the battery and everything. And I was so happy with what I was seeing about the camera that I decided to make a take on this plastic bag that was under the box, because it was a bit wet because of watering the trees. And it was a plastic box. I thought, well, it likes a texture bag, so I will place the camera on it and make a close-up. And then wind appears, it blew the bag because this camera is so light. It fell on the floor and I've got two small bang bang here and here. So it's like people who are testing the new iPhone, they just throw it on the floor, see if it's solid. So I can confirm it is solid. So I contacted Digit Photo. I said, this just happened. Don't worry, I'll buy the camera. And they said, no, you don't need to buy the camera. This can happen and we will resell it secondhand and that's it. I thought, no, actually, no, I want it because it reminds me of this camera, this Kodak 177X, my first ever camera. Actually, I have a video about this camera. I'll leave the link here, okay? But the film cartridge, they don't make them anymore, so you must make some funny adapter, things like this. So I don't use it, obviously. So I thought, well, I want to keep it. So actually that changed all my plan. That was more than a month ago. So instead of reviewing in a week, I actually made another roll of film when I went to France 2 weeks later. And now I've got all the 3 films developed. And I've got over 200 pictures. So I've put all these pictures at the end of this video, and I will pass some during the video anyway. And I'll put all of them except the one that were just family, okay? But I wanted to show you the bad, the good one, so you have an idea of what you can get with this camera. So now I'm going to give you some technical specs and my opinion. But I really love it. So, and by the way, even if it didn't fall on the floor, I would probably buy it anyway. So, well, that's the conclusion anyway. So I've added one more film. There are 3 films. The one I've added is the Fujifilm C200, okay? So if we look at the camera, it's strange because you have 3 types of texture. Here you have one type here, one type here, on the back another one. This is an alloy of magnesium. It is solid, I can guarantee, because it fell on the floor, okay? One thing I really didn't like, the way it looks, is this screw here to close the battery door. And I thought that would bother my hand, but it does not at all. So it's just ugly, but it's not a problem. The size is fantastic, 127 millimeter long by 78 high and 52 millimeter thick. So yes, it is pocketable. Well, it depends on the pocket you have, okay? 290 grams without battery and film, but really nice in hand. This camera is fully automatic, but you can decide what type of automatism you want to use, because there are several options, but you cannot decide on the aperture or the speed. That will calculate by itself. The only thing you can adjust is the ISO and pick the automatic mode you want. Same thing, it is not autofocus, it is zone focus, but you will have to indicate at what distance is your subject. There are distances here, a small logo here, and that will help. And honestly, that works fine, okay? And if we look at the exposure, it's true that you cannot decide on aperture and speed and decide the exposure. But honestly, when I look at the picture I've made, almost all of them are properly exposed. So honestly, nothing to complain. So it's like a rest. You can have fun without thinking too much. So it is really a fun camera. Maybe you saw it during the unboxing. When I open here, you see that this is the space of your picture, the size of your picture. So it is called half frame. Instead of being 36 by 24 millimeter, it is 17 by 24 millimeter. And this frame, as you can see, is vertical. It means when I use the camera this way, I make a vertical picture. If I want to make an horizontal picture, I have to check this way, okay? Is it complicated? No, it's not. If we look at the camera, I'm not going to get in detail of each thing. There is an instruction manual that is well done. You don't need more. Here you have actually the switch, okay? And here you have to crank the film. Then here you have a counter. Here you have the mode, different mode. The one in white are natural light. Then you have a blue that says auto, and the brown one corresponds to have the flash that is here that will get activated, okay? And here you will pick your ISO. Here you have a compensation button. That's important that you do have some photography notion, some knowledge a bit to know when to compensate and when not. And here, when you have on the brown part, the flash is activated. I think I just said it. And basically here you will have to set the distance of your subject. Here you have some small symbol like a flower, a fork and knife, a person, 2 person, 3 person, a mountain. But if you want to have the exact distance in meter or feet, it's written here underneath. Okay, so you can actually calculate the right distance for your subject. But honestly, it's so easy to use. The viewfinder is actually not going through the lens. It goes here and comes out here. So in there you have two frames. It covers about 80% of your picture. And depends on the distance you are, you will use one frame or the other. So it corrects the parallax error, okay? But it's simple. You don't need to know much more to use it, honestly. So now I'm going to give you some more specs, but as you can see, it's so simple to use. If we speak about the lens, it is a lens that is from the year, the design of the lens is from the year 1994, not 2094, it's not future, it's past, okay? The focal length is 25 millimeter, which is the equivalent in full frame of 37 millimeter. And one thing, it says it opens at maximum aperture of f3.5, and I criticize Pentax for not indicating the smallest aperture you can get. I had to check on Google and find someone who found out it's up to f16. Why do I say it would be good to indicate that? Because as you cannot decide on speed, all this, and we'll see the shutter speed is not that high. Sometimes, depending on the sensitivity of the film you use, maybe you will get the picture overexposed and you will need a filter, so it's good to know it. So they should have given the full specs, telling from f3.5 up to f16. Although I cannot decide on the aperture, it's done automatically. But this data is important, okay? So, a few more specs in my opinion. Here you have the switch, you switch it on. And here you can see you have LED light, a blue one and an orange one. There are some meanings, like right now it's blue, flashing in blue because I forgot to take out the cap. I made several pictures without taking into account that this was flashing, and it was telling that it was underexposed. I never noticed it. I made a picture. Okay, so wow. Okay, so this important to read the manual. You have this instruction. Okay. Here you also have the distance. It can go from infinity, 3 meter, 1.7 meter, 1.2, 50 centimeter, 25 centimeter. 25 centimeter, for example, this is for macro. So it's easy. How do you know exactly where you're at 25 centimeter? Well, easy. This leash measure exactly 25 centimeter. On that picture of a cup, I actually placed it here. I made a picture. And for selfie, I placed it on 50 centimeter, and this is the length of my arm and most people's arm, and it was in focus, so it's so easy. Now a point that it is so here you actually you have the switch here, okay? It will switch off automatically after 5 minutes, I don't know, can't remember, and you just press, it starts again, okay? So one thing now I want to speak about, because I think this is the only downside of the camera, it is the shutter speed. When you press in bulb mode, while you're pressing, the picture is being made, so that's no problem. The problem is when you have the automatic shutter, which is, or what it has, okay? It goes from 4 seconds to 1/350th of a second. And this is a problem. 4 seconds, that's fine. If it's 4 seconds, you need a tripod probably, or put it steady on something, okay? But if you pick here the ISO that goes from 50 to 3200, you have to press here and turn the wheel. Obviously, when you pick the ISO, it stays on for the full film. It's not digital, so you cannot change the ISO during the film, obviously. And there is a problem. When you're with a film that is 100 ISO, 350th of a second, that's fine. It will expose properly, as it will close the aperture also. But if you use a film that is 400 ISO, it will probably overexpose. Why? Well, do the Sony 16 and you'll see you will need more speed, faster than 350th of a second. So you will need to place an ND filter here, 2 or 3 stop. Good thing, you can screw it here, there is the thread here, and it's not standard 40.5 millimeter. It's not really common, but you can find these filters, no problem. Okay, so I would place a 2 or 3 stop ND filter if you're going to use 400 ISO. Obviously, if you're going to use higher, you need get more light. If you're in bright sun, obviously indoor you don't need it. But if we use a film that will last for 72 pictures, unless you are sure to be indoor all the time and then you want to put 400 or 800 ISO, that's fine. But if sometimes you're indoor, sometimes outdoor with a sunny situation, really bright sunny, then or you keep using always 100 ISO film, or if you use higher than 400 or from 400 ISO, you will need to place an ND filter. So I think the shutter speed should have been a big minimum of 1/500th of a second or 1/1000th of a second. I think that would have been the minimum. I don't know why it's so low, and they should explain that. Or they should include with the camera an LD filter. That would be logical. But this is the disappointment for me. I think the shutter speed is too slow. Okay, you need higher, or yeah, you need to have this knowledge. And when they don't say it goes up to f16, that's also a problem, because if you think it goes up to f22, you think, well, that would be fine, and actually it's overexposed. Okay. Following on that point, there is a mode that's called bokeh, so it will open the aperture at the maximum, and you get more out of focus, and see what people call bokeh, okay? And same thing, you're likely to overexpose your picture. So it's important, I think, with this camera to get a couple of filters, like a 2 or 3 stops, plus a 6 stop, for example, and also to learn the Sunny 16 method to know more or less how it will expose properly, and to know when to place a filter or not. Make a small table with this situation, I use my filter or not. That's simple, but train a bit, and you're sure to always expose properly if you're using higher ISO films, or if you're in the bokeh mode to get more things out of focus and you don't want to overexpose it. Okay. The big advantage of off frame is that you get 72 pictures instead of 36. So that's a good point. But big difference with digital photography. In digital photography, when you actually make a larger picture, it actually interpolates everything and you don't lose much quality. But in film photography, from the second you enlarge more than 5 times the size of the negative or the positive, if it was a slide, you do start to see a lot of loss of quality. Because when you actually enlarge, you enlarge everything, the good thing and the bad things. If there is dust, dust gets larger. If there is grain, film grain, it will also get larger. So what does this mean? If you want to have a really nice quality picture, image quality, and you don't want to have a big grain, you need to spend money on good films. And good films are expensive, and films with a fine grain are also expensive, and also very often limited to 50, 64 or 100 ISO. If you go on 400, 800 ISO, then the grain is not that fine, so you will see it even more than on a 24 by 36 millimeter film. So actually, when you see the 3 films I made, the Hector 100, which is an expensive film, 100 ISO, the results are a lot better if we look at film grain and the aspect of the picture than the Fujifilm C200 or the Color Plus 200, which are entry-level films and higher ISO, so you do get, yeah, it's not as clean. But it's a matter of image quality, and we're going to come back to this about this camera and image quality, if it does matter or not. But if you expect to have really the perfect fine grain, all this, the smaller the film, the bigger the problem, okay? That's really important. So if you want to save with cheap films and you want to have fine grain, that will not make it. You will need to spend money on good films. So if we speak about image quality, well, this lens is not especially good, not especially sharp, it's not exceptional. But is it a problem? Well, if you're searching for perfect result, all this, that's not the camera for you. Many people are saying, yeah, but for that price you get a Nikon FM2 and a lens and things like this. Yes, but people who want to use that don't want to use an FM2 or any other Canon A1 or whatever. They want something simple, to have fun, to play. The same as I had when I was 12 years old. I was using that, I had fun with that. My grandmother had an Agfamatic and she was going to travel. she didn't want to learn about photography. She just wanted to press the button and knew she had a souvenir of the grandmother with the monument, or friends, or landscape, but just to know she was there, not the perfect picture. And this is where this camera is. This is for these people. Many people, they would like to have film photography, but they don't want to learn advanced things about film photography. They just want a result. So maybe it will be scanned, or maybe they will get it on paper, but they want to have fun. The same as when I use on Instax. I don't use on Instax to have perfect quality. I use on Instax to have a souvenir, to have fun for a second, and that's it. And yeah, it's nice to look at my small pictures after. Here, I've got my dog here, and things like this. Do I need the perfect quality? No, I don't need it. It's more than this. If they would get the perfect quality, many people then would not like it, because that sounds strange, but if you get something really perfect, really sharp, many people will think, yeah, but it's same as my smartphone. So I want to have this analog look, I want to have this film look, that it's not perfect, and you get it with this camera. And this is what this camera is for, to have fun, not to be a perfect photographer. That's the idea. Okay, so I think Pentax had a great idea. At the beginning I was reluctant. I thought, wow, that sounds a bit stupid. But when you start using it, you understand why this camera is now a success, because that's fun. So you will see at the end I've got 200 pictures, around 200 pictures, and many are bad because I was in a rush at the beginning. I thought I had just a week to test it, so I was shooting about anything, just see if it's straight, if it was easy, vertical, horizontal, all this. But then when it fell on the floor, I decided I would keep the camera. Then I took more time, I had fun, I made pictures of my dog, my daughter also, with flash. By the way, if you use a flash, try to compensate because it's really strong. I made selfie also with flash, or testing against the sun, and it works perfect. So I really had fun with this camera. And this is when I realized that this camera is a fun camera. This is a camera you need to forget you're a photographer if you are. Forget about calculating aperture, exposure, all this. Just have fun. Just put the right distance and pick the right mode, and that's it, and have fun. And I think many people, when and include myself, when we saw the specs of this camera, we thought it was a toy. We thought, who wants that? And some YouTubers started to use it, were saying it's great camera, and we all thought it was hype, or they were getting paid. And actually you realize, no, yes, this camera is fun, but you must understand who this is for. This is not a camera you will use as a serious camera, but a fun camera. Obviously some people will have some artistic project, maybe a landscape or portrait, whatever. You know, artistic people, creative people, they can do great things with any camera, whether really expensive or a film camera or whatever. Okay, so obviously there will be that kind of artistic project, probably. Okay, but many of us, we use it as a fun camera. Actually, when I went to France, I used my Fujifilm X100 Mark VI and this one, and that's it. This is all what I brought with me. And I had fun with both, obviously, but this one, the great surprise of you don't know what you're getting at the end. Say, oh, I took that picture. Yeah, that's right. You see it afterward. Okay, so honestly, I think this camera is a fun camera. Obviously, for the same price, you have other options. Like I said, Nikon FM2 or things like this, but it's not the idea. This camera is not for that. Obviously, if you want off frame, you could get a Pen F, Olympus Pen F, but that's so expensive. If you want a point and shoot camera, a film camera like an Olympus Mu, that's really expensive. The prices are really skyrocketing right now. So I think there is no competition to this camera because it's on its own. So yes, for me it is completely recommendable. So if you want to have fun, this is the camera to go for. If you're interested, I'll leave you a link in the description where you can buy it. So thank you so much, Digit Photo, for lending me the camera. No, Eric, it fell on the floor. Thank you so much, camera, for falling on the floor because I bought it. That's mine. Okay, so thank you anyway to Digit Photo, send it to me without knowing I would keep it. Anyway, Thank you to you for watching the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The small button down here, a small bell. If you click on the bell, you will get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. Also leave your links of working on Amazon, links of everything I reviewed by K&F Concept, Sandmarc, and Flashes by Westcott, more affiliated links, and also a link to my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. Thank you very much. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.